guys think most people that are coming are here, or?
No.
Who are we missing?
Oh, John is coming, but
Susan's not here.
my husband's coming, but.
And Kim's not here.
Kim's aren't coming.
Shrink's coming. I know Mitch, we saw Mitch. He's,
Turkeys are
on
gone.
trip.
turkeys are gone, but I know the shrinks are coming.
Oh, I thought they were had gotten back.
They just left.
Just left.
Oh,
What about the
If
pain?
you guys want, we can wait another couple minutes, or we can get going, up to you guys.
You know, I'm sorry, but there's a baseball game tonight. Let's go.
Okay.
Well, it's 4 minutes till, 3 minutes
Oh,
till.
no, we can wait till start time. but-
Okay, I thought we were there, sorry.
I got 5 minutes ago. Yeah.
Sylvia, I think the boss just spoke, so. So we're a civil engineering company that does a lot of work up in Seminole County. And today with me is my partner, Chad Moorhead, and Chris Cleary is with Pulte Homes, and another Pulte Homes representative, I think is on their way. Aaron Struckmeyer, anyway. The first thing I'd like to cover is kind of, why are we here? Your area, a lot of people in your area have large lots, and we understand that. Seminole County has two things that anybody who's looking, a home builder who's looking to develop property into single-family homes would be considering two things, and that's the future land use, which is basically the county's roadmap as to what their long-term vision is for properties in Seminole County. And the land use can vary from, it can be, the future land use could be commercial, industrial, it could be single family. In this particular case, it's low density residential, which means that the long-term, the long-term plan that the county would see for this property would be low density residential land, even though I understand a lot of you all live on large acreage tracts. One of the reasons that it probably historically got land use to low density residential is that, if you see this map, there's kind of a central area here that's basically surrounded by urbanization. This isn't this isn't the rural area. There is a rural area where, for example, you're required to have 5 acres to build one home. I'm actually working on something on that now. This is Aaron Struckmeyer. He's also with Pulte Homes.
Where is that rural area?
yeah, I'll let it go.
Oh, the rural area? Well, anywhere out off, like Fort Florida Road out there. There's the rural.
So not in town.
The rural area is if you go out towards Geneva, if you go out, actually if you got on 46 East, it's actually closer in than you think. Like, it gets very close to like Winter Springs. The rural area stops, if you know where 419 is, that heads into Winter Springs. The rural area is just east of there. That's where it starts, and then it goes all the way to the St. Johns River, way out 46. And so there are areas, some of them are 1 to 10, 1 to 5, 1 to 1. So anyway, but as long as, there's properties that have a low density residential land use, it doesn't mean the county has to rezone it. It means that their long-term vision is that it potentially could be rezoned to something that's more dense than what it is. The zoning is A1 today, which is a minimum of a 1 acre lot. But with a low density future land use, it would encourage people like Pulte Homes, and I think, that's why there'll always be, especially as all the other lands get developed, there'll always be development pressures on an area like this that's kind of in the middle, and I understand you all live on large lots, I get that. But because of the low density residential land use, there's always going to be development pressure in this area, and you can see it nibbling around at the edges already as you see other single family homes, subdivisions that have risen. So having said that, a few of the folks in here decided that they wanted to market their property, and Pulte Homes has contracted the property that you see here. So I know you all, I don't have to tell anybody about what the situation is out here with easements and roads and so forth. Oak Hollow Lane is here. And when they had divided this into, I thought 3 or 4 1-acre lots, I can't remember, but 3 1-acre lots. And when they did that, they dedicated a 50-foot public right-of-way. There's also, on the other side of that, and you can kind of see the road underneath there, but the other side of that, there's also a 20-foot access easement. So it's kind of a combined, there's a 50-foot public right-of-way, and then there's a 20-foot access easement on the other side. As you go down this way, and this is based on some old surveys that the property owners provided, Pulte Homes. As you go down this way, Oak Hollow turns into a 40-foot access easement. And these are what are represented on our surveys. You all know this area better than anybody, and I may say something that you'll want to correct me on, and that's fine. But the surveys that we have, they're not current surveys, but the older ones show a 40-foot right-of-way here. Not a right-of-way, excuse me, a private access easement for access to the folks down here. So when we get into these, we really try hard to look at, how are we impacting the people that live out there. And right now, of course, Oak Hollow goes there, and you get past this retention pond, and there's those, and then you got the multifamily, and then the commercial on the corner. But here, as we get in here, the county code does require certain buffering requirements. Like if you're a smaller lot, like we're proposing these lots to be 70 feet wide by 120 feet deep, which are these are the same. I understand that. If you all, I understand that you're probably not going to like some of the things I say. I get that, but if you'll let me get through the presentation, then we'll answer any questions that you all have. But this would be a similar subdivision to Brookmore, which is out on Chapman Road. That you all, it would be in there they're selling homes between $500,000 and $600,000, and you're welcome. It's not that far away if you guys want to drive out there and see a representation of what it would look like. When we get into something like this, we certainly do our best to look at it and put ourselves in your shoes and say, and I know you're going to go, well, we just want you to go away. I get that, but if we are going to do something, then what could we do to best respect the folks that live out there in the area? And I try to pretend like I live there, and what would I want? So a few of the things that we have come up with in this plan is, where the road is here, we would continue a wall theme, if you will, similar to what starts the brick wall that's here. I don't know if we do brick, but it would be some kind of 6-foot solid wall that would extend along Oak Hollow Lane here and here, and then we move the wall in. There'd be some open space, landscaped open space here. It probably would be a gated subdivision. I don't know if that's been finally determined yet. There's a couple of things there. And so for buffering, and actually the county code, single family against single family, if you have a smaller lot like these against larger lots like are over here, then the requirement is a 10-foot landscape buffer, which we have provided outside of the 40-foot access easement. There's an additional 10-foot landscape buffer track there, and you can see, as you all know, from, we've all ridden that road, there's a lot of trees right along Oak Hollow that we'd be able to maintain.
I just have a quick, who is going to maintain those?
Meaning that we could keep them, and then the HOA would be required to maintain. It would be an HOA track, the 10-foot landscape buffer. The 40-foot access easement would just be like it always is, And I don't know exactly what the maintenance responsibilities are of that access easement, or how you do it, or somebody just steps up, or if you have do you all have a formal HOA, or is it just somebody just
It's a handshake agreement.
just somebody?
No, it's all recorded. There's all recorded easements.
Right. No, I know there's all recorded easements. I
He's asking
didn't
who
know if the
maintains
maintenance was covered in those easements.
Whoever has a time
There is a
we can-
maintenance agreement on
Pine Hollow?
They have a recorded maintenance agreement, yes.
Right. And I did talk with,
But you got this far and you didn't know if there was an HOA?
well, no, I assumed somebody was maintaining it, but, that's.
You didn't even know you're coming in and putting 40 houses and you don't even know if there's an HOA?
Well, Well, no, we'll have a mandatory HOA for us. Now, for you guys, whether you guys have a mandatory HOA or
But
not.
that's the extent of the research for the whole project, is you don't even know if there's an HOA or not.
Well, I assume somebody's maintaining those roads, so we assumed there was an HOA. As far as down here, I did speak.
You have an HOA to maintain a road.
I did speak with this lady, and she expressed a lot of her concerns to me.
Which lady?
Purdy, Elizabeth.
Yeah, Elizabeth.
She's away.
Yeah.
Yeah, she said she was gonna be out of town, but she
Yeah.
called me on the phone, and we spoke. So, obviously, the most affected parties in this are certainly the 5 homeowners that have access to Pine Hollow Trail here. And, you know, something that, and I do, like I said, if I lived here, what might I want? If this development happened, because you do have the situation where currently they're here, so we would be forming a new intersection here, which would either be which would either need to be either a 2 or a 4-way stop. If you continue to do that as an option, and they may say they don't want that, and that's fine. But you know, if I was here, maybe a consideration in my mind would be that, you know, maybe I would want access through here, and if this ended up being gated, then they could have rights to get through the gates for the 5 homeowners that are down here.
Absolutely not.
No, we don't want this.
I don't want your gate.
This whole thing is just a.
Okay, it's just I'm just throwing out an idea.
Okay,
So,
let me just ask you a quick question. So you're taking the 5 acres on the left, and you're having all the homes enter through the 5 acres on the left, is that correct?
yes, they would come in here. This would be the entrance to Oak Hollow.
So what happened to coming in that way for the houses on the left and coming in on Oak Hollow for the houses on the right and staying out of Pine Hollow? Why would you?
Well,
There's one lot right there in the corner that you could accomplish that with.
Yeah,
You're saying over here, well,
No.
no, above
At the
39,
beginning of the subdivision.
above
Right here.
39.
you're saying here?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Why
Leave
can't
them
you
their
do that?
road.
Well, for one thing, I'm not sure that we have legal rights to do that. It's a private. This is a private access easement.
so you
but
lost
you're
a lot,
making a
basically.
road right.
No. So the losing the lot isn't the issue. It's getting legal access. This is a 50-foot public right-of-way
Yeah.
here, which
And it
would allow us
adjoins-
to gain legal access off of this 50-foot right-of-way. So here, this is and listen.
Nobody's saying use that easement, just go straight across
Straight
and
across and come
lose
down
that
farther.
lot.
Yeah.
You're saying
Yes, exactly.
Come right there.
well, that's why we're here. Listen, the whole idea that I'm not here to tell you this is exactly the plan. We're here to hear exactly what you're doing.
So you're just here to say that it's gonna happen?
I'm not here. Well,
No.
no.
Well,
That's
no, I'm
it.
saying you're not listening.
There is a process. The county doesn't have to rezone this property. So there is a process, and maybe they will rezone it, maybe they won't.
And
But
so this is your wish list.
this is our
Your
wish list, and that's what,
we're
look,
gonna have a wish
we-
list that says, no, to that.
okay, but here, that's why we're here. So, so I'm hearing now, obviously, you must be one of the 5 that live down here. I'm sensing that.
Very good.
I'm sensing that. So, I
So
just
you
want
can't gate it, you can't gate it if you're gonna keep their access on Pine Hollow.
Actually, staff said you can't gate it. You cannot have a gate. Staff.
Everybody has to
staff
be
said that.
unanimous in the decision that's
You-
affected.
they
No,
don't-
but we weren't, but the gate, okay, time out. The gate that we were talking about was in here, it wasn't up here.
But that's their
No,
only
that's their
access.
If this is open, it makes no sense to have a gate.
You're right. So you're absolutely right. If this,
You
but
gotta keep
the
that-
idea would be, and look, until tonight, I didn't know how these 5 folks would feel that maybe they'd want to pave access to go this way. If you don't want that,
Nobody wants to drive through homes.
I understand.
Nobody wants homes there.
I understand.
I mean,
So-
But they definitely don't
So-
want to go through 3 different gates to get to
yeah,
their
because
house.
Pine Hollow is my road.
Right.
So there's no reason for you to confiscate my road, which is So, what are we doing? It just doesn't make sense.
You can't even walk down there anymore.
Well,
Yep, can't walk through the mailbox, can't do nothing. You gotta
well,
walk
again,
down there
too,
to
I
get
mean,
to the
if you,
mailbox.
if you,
Get through.
and Mary, you kind of went like this, I think. I'm not sure exactly what you did, but Pine Hollow has to continue this way. I mean, Oak Hollow
Right,
has to,
just do a turn lane, you got 50-foot right away there.
anyway, okay, I hear what you're saying, you know,
No, no, you stay
you'd
off my
rather-
road.
yeah.
I don't want all those houses on my road, because they don't need to come down Pine
Yeah,
Hollow.
you need to switch that.
all right, well, we will look at that. I mean, the thing is we do have a public right of way here, but beyond that point, it's a 40-foot access easement.
Yeah,
So,
Don't go there.
let's talk. I
Well,
mean, seriously.
you can do what they did and dedicate your 50-foot public right of way on there, off your property,
Sure. And give it up,
make your public road.
and then put in less homes. What a concept.
Can I ask, are those different size lots on the left versus?
Yes.
Okay, what?
no, they're all, both sides are 70 by 120s. Both sides.
All those are?
Yes.
What are you doing to utilities?
Okay, utilities, there's water and sewer that we'll have to extend down to Oak Hollow. Down.
Extend it?
We're gonna have to extend, there's
There is
water
no
and
water and
sewer.
sewer.
There's water.
There's water and sewer down Oak Hollow. The county provided us maps that showed those utility lines.
Where is it?
Well, there has to
There's a
be.
fire
look
hydrant,
at
that's
that.
what all fire hydrant.
There's one fire hydrant.
There's one fire hydrant.
We can't do this project without having public utilities, water and sewer.
But we're not going to public.
We're not asking you to.
Okay.
But
Just wanna make
there's no
sure.
sewer.
I'm not going on water and sewer.
Well, you wouldn't be required to. But it would be a
You
requirement.
mean today we won't. You see it all over the place that rural areas, when they run a sewer and water line, you're required to pay the fee and hook up to them.
The county will not require you to hook up.
Says who?
I want that.
We've been in
right.
this situation before, and we can get that in writing for you all, that you wouldn't be required to hook up.
Ever.
If any, well, the only way you would is if other people wanted to sell their land and do something similar. That's the only way you would. Otherwise, as long as you're on your big lot, no one's gonna require you to hook up to water and sewer. So that was one of the other things that I discussed with Elizabeth, was that she didn't want any launches or anything allowed into this lake. And we are requesting just a community overlook dock that wouldn't have any launches or anything like that.
Which
Just-
means there won't be any garbage
Why
getting
don't you
in
put
there.
it on the pond instead of the lake?
Well, because you walk down this access like this, and, I mean, obviously, we'd rather be on a natural lake than on the retention pond.
So the blue
Somebody could,
line that you.
How are they gonna get there? Are they gonna
Just
walk
sit there.
along?
they
that
would have to walk down this access around the pond to.
So they're gonna walk on the edge of the property line.
That's only a 6 foot.
they would walk along here.
So you got no buffer on the south side.
Don't worry, there won't be
No, we have
Matches.
we got a retention pond here. Here we have a 10-foot
Thinking
landscape
about the
buffer
mattress
for
they
the
threw
line.
with the brick wall.
And then from here on, we have,
How
a retention
about
pond.
this? Restrict any access to the lake, period.
Pardon me?
I said, how about this? Restrict any access to the lake, period.
In other words, they can't put anything.
You're not putting lakefront homes there, so what's the attraction of that?
Well, just that if somebody, that somebody could come out there on the dock and, a kid could throw a bread ball in and catch a brim. Obviously, you're not gonna put any motorized vehicle out there.
Is your lake connected to Lake Marine?
Pardon me?
You're creating a artificial body of water up there, is that correct?
Yeah, it's not,
Is that-
we would have an outfall from the pond, but the retention pond is here to hold back any pollutants that are around.
So in other words,
Would flow be allowed to go in both directions?
No, it
Would
would,
have a weir?
well, gravity, yeah, we'd have a weir, and gravity would feed just like it does now. This property drains down into the lake. So we,
Have you looked at the
look, on the stormwater, we have all kinds of requirements we have to meet from a pre-post development discharge rate, a pollutant control rate, and so, you know.
Have you looked at the
Have you
hydraulics of
seen
the
any of
lake?
these before?
Here, yeah.
I'm sorry, have you looked at the hydraulics of the lake?
We
suspect
will
it's
be, and that,
spring fed, and the outfall appears to be in that same area.
well, yeah, obviously, we will be studying all that, but look, there's a lot of strict requirements from a stormwater standpoint that we'll have to meet both through Seminole County and St. John's. You know, so all of that, we can't build a project unless we adhere to their requirements.
What about the water runoff? We all have wells.
Well, I mean, that's why you have a pond here,
That goes
is to
into
maintain
And it doesn't go below the point of
And
the
there's gonna be a liner in that pond?
No, you don't put a liner in it.
So
but-
Okay, so
It's
how are
stop
we
the
gonna prevent
effluents from going
groundwater
into the water.
contamination?
Well, you know, we have studies done by geotechnical engineers, and they'll be able to assess
Who run
that.
Pulte's
And
payroll?
we've done this around water wells
They have to
before.
meet St. John's and the county will do it. The wall's just on the front.
The wall, yeah, is just here. You know, we had, this is the nearest home here, which
That's me.
from here,
Thank you.
who is that?
And
Okay.
last question, are you gonna have a wall, that same 6-foot brick wall all the way around the retention pond?
Well, here, as you know, along this property line, it's kind of wet, so no, there wouldn't be a
So
wall
it's gonna
down
be
there.
open.
The distance from,
That's their property line you're
well,
talking to.
this property line, you couldn't build a wall there. And, you know, we have this pond that's buffering you, the nearest house to you would be about 200 feet away.
Can you put a wall on the, let's call it the north section of that pond?
Up here?
So that you don't
Yeah.
see those homes?
They're a lot line.
The 6-foot wall, 20-foot tall house.
Yeah.
I mean, typically, you know, the pond is considered an amenity feature that people really want to actually have their house on and be able to see.
Oh, when it turns green and slimy, you mean?
We have a
Well,
Charlie, where are you in the process?
so as far as the process, we would be, you know, once we have to apply, we'd be applying for a PD. And then there'll be many public hearings. Tonight isn't the end of our conversations with you guys. Tonight is to introduce the project to you, and then I guess Selby's going to be our main point of contact. And then as we move through, we will, you know, we don't try to hide anything. And everything that we submit to the county, we can submit directly to Selby and to Mary, you know, so you guys can have everything that we submit, including like, you know, we'll be doing a traffic analysis of the intersection at Oak Hollow and Dean.
How about one in Pine Hollow and Oak Hollow? Okay, you gotta check
Yeah,
that out too.
they'll look at that as well. So,
Can I ask another, I'm sorry, because I'm old and I'm old. Okay. Why do we have to put so many homes on? Why don't you,
Because they make.
I know you make more money that way, I don't think, but, you know, if you know you're gonna.
yeah, you'll be next, sir, I'm sorry. Yeah, you've been patient, I apologize.
Oh, sorry. If you know you're gonna get so much of a fight, why don't you put less homes on?
That's for
Well-
them to answer.
So, you know, Pulte Homes, you know, there is an economic side to this, of course. You know, people want a certain value for their property, and so to pay them a certain value, they need a certain number of homes to make the numbers work. This is, as I said, this is LDR, which does allow up to 4 units an acre. This what you see there is about 2.6 units per acre. So we are well below what the LDR actually allows. Not that that makes anybody feel better, but it is much less, and this community will feel like a Brookmore, which I encourage you to go and.
That's
Been
great.
there, done that.
Okay.
We're in Chapman.
You're gonna be paving Hollow Lane and that 50-foot right away that you have there?
Who cares?
Extending the pavement?
be doing anything to Oak Hollow from there to there.
But from here to.
From here to here, yeah, from here out, we would have to make sure that the road met county standards.
Part of that.
From our entrance
On your-
back to Dean Road.
Are they saying from the
You can't touch ours.
boxes, the mailboxes?
No.
No, no.
The mailboxes
In front of the-
are over
right,
here.
In front of Orange Grove.
They're basically saying where the gate is in the middle of the grove right now.
Oh,
We pay for the parent.
She gave up 50 feet
Oh,
to
yeah,
the
I
county.
got that.
So they can pave that, but they can't pave the dirt in front of
And-
So
our.
what's your
And actually, if
timetable
you
on
go stare at it,
PD?
Oak Hollow lines up
Um,
with that 50 feet. It doesn't align with our.
I imagine we would probably have something ready to submit within the next 60 days.
no.
This meeting's not required as well, Charles.
Yeah.
It's votes.
60 days.
Chad, the county doesn't require us to do these meetings. We do it after years and years and years of experience, that it's the best thing to do so that you guys don't get a mailer or see a sign out there and say, oh my God, what's going on? So I just want to throw that out there that, we're here to do this.
Okay, go, sir.
Hey, I'd just like to say this. I've lived down there 32 years. Most of the people in this room have lived down there longer than me. So you can understand this is not a small meeting for them. It's life-changing. I'm not one for opposing what's going on, but I am one for asking you, are you willing to make accommodations to the people in this room? 32 years is a long time to fight for something, and we can fight another 32 years, but I think working with you, if you can soften some of your positions, not take such hard positions, you'll find the opposition in this room will work with you. We fought another apartment complex a long, long time ago. We beat them, and we stopped them building. They gave us some money. The money disappeared, but no, it's true. It's true. We stopped them, and then we signed a contract that okay, you can build, but the money disappeared. There's a lot of skepticism in this room as to what's going. This is the ultimate Atfields and the McCoys here. Everybody in this room, nobody likes anybody in this room.
That's not true.
Everybody's the
You can't speak
Atfields and the McCoys in this room.
Well,
And
Don't
you
speak
can't.
for me.
I was going to say something, but if you don't like what I'm going to say, I won't say it.
I mean, here's the thing.
Can I continue?
In every neighborhood, you have different personalities, and honestly, in a situation like this, if you live here, you have two trains of thought. It's like, I want to pass this on to my grandkids, and it's going to stay like this forever. Or somebody's going, well, maybe one day I want to sell my land and I want to do something similar. And I know, I'm not trying to create any division between neighbors or anything, but there will be different trains of thought between different folks. And I understand if you've lived there 25, 30 years, I'm not trying to insult or make anyone angry. I'm just saying there is different personalities and different ideas of maybe what somebody may want to do with their property in the future.
And so could you answer my question?
As long as, one suggestion is that, as long as all these properties are LDR, you're going to continue to get interest from home builders like Pulte Homes. As long as it's low density residential, because they scour the maps for lands. If it says suburban estates and it's A1, suburban estates, by the comp plan, the future land use map, suburban estates is 1 acre minimum. So people, and I don't know, it probably would never be possible to pull everybody together. But if you're in an area like that and there was a consensus that nobody ever wanted anything to change, you could actually approach the county and change your land use from low density residential to suburban estates. Because as long as it's low density residential, properties, builders are going to be interested in those properties. So, if everybody said, let's change it to suburban estates, and that land use change was made, then, then nobody would probably bother you in the future. Not that you can't request a land use change from suburban estates to LDR, but if you all switched it, I wouldn't be representing those properties, I'll tell you that much. Yes, sir.
The majority of the property out there is all, it was originally zoned for 1 house per 5 acres. It was deed restricted at 1 house per 5 acres. That's the reason why everybody is there and has continued to stay there for 30 or 40 years. You're saying to change that to a minimum of 1 acre, that then puts a danger in all the rest of the area being developed at that intensity.
But today, your property is zoned A1, which allows 1 acre
And we
lots.
still
Right,
have,
but Charlie, I was gonna ask you, if you guys, do you have current title work out there? Because there are a bunch of deed restrictions out there.
Yeah, we did get the title work,
And it didn't come back with deed restrictions on that property?
not on these 2 properties, not the commercial.
Yeah, will you share that with me?
They sold, that they bought from Norton. They are the original people from Norton. And
it's showing up on
all
the
around the
properties
lake
without
was,
Well, if you all have deed restrictions
Yeah, we
that
did, but we didn't have
isn't showing up in
yours.
his title work, then let us have it.
Yeah, I wanna see yours, but I just got retained, I'm probably gonna do our own. Because they've been feeding me stuff, and I think there's deed restrictions on these properties. It was.
They're back on the lake.
Well, not only,
Instead of showing up in your title work?
Yeah.
Isn't the one on the west already subdivided into 1 acre lots?
I don't
Yes,
know how that went through, because
yeah,
that's the one I'm certain has deed
Yes.
restrictions on it.
the realtor that bought it did do that, but I think there is a deed restriction on it. It
If there's a
shouldn't
deed
be done.
restriction, the county still subdivided it into 1 acre lots. So I don't
But
know.
the county
Well,
doesn't
anyway,
enforce deed restrictions, but they should have reviewed the title work as part of the plat.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So I don't know what happened there, so,
Yeah.
Again,
And
I'm
that
I'm
wasn't
throwing
a
out
trigger
there,
of these
I'm
laws.
not 100%
well, if
certain.
you all have deed restrictions that affect these properties, please give them to us.
we do, the Young property that you're showing there, the
the 12 acres.
the 12 acres, the Youngs bought the property from the original developer, which is Norton Engineering, and they signed a contract along with the deed restrictions that promised, that guaranteed that they would not subdivide the land, that they would, you can see the deed restrictions, it limited to 1 house per 5 acres, a minimum square footage, requirements on what they could do, no commercial activities are. The original contract between the current owners and the developer back in 1978.
Look, what we're talking about here is legal stuff for me. I'm a civil engineer, and I'll be telling, Pulte to look into this, and if there's deed restrictions that prevent us from doing this, then we'll be going bye-bye. That's not my call to make. But I appreciate, that's why we're here.
That's also why you see the resentment. If this had been zoned something else, or there were no restrictions or anything else, and I decided to sell my property for a nuclear waste dump or something else, that's fine. But when you have made an agreement that you will not subdivide the property, you will not sell it in pieces,
It doesn't matter what the county says.
that's a personal thing.
Well, it's interesting, if those things do exist, then you would have thought that, and I don't know when the LDR land use got assigned to these properties, but you would have thought that would have been a consideration in, them assigning the LDR. So,
How far back did they go? Because those started back at least 40 years ago.
again, the lawyers do the title work and.
In the late 70s.
Okay. Well, this is a very, very, interesting point you're bringing up, and we'll have to get right to the bottom of this.
How did Pulte make the mistake and send y'all to somebody's property that didn't have a contract?
That was my office's mistake,
Okay.
and we apologize to, I think it was Mr. Gentry. And,
That would be her.
sorry about that. That was just a Scribner's error in my office that snuck out of there, and we didn't notice it. So, we apologize in person. we did, I don't know if you got the second one, we did remail to everyone and took it and fixed it, so, sorry, I know that was a bad mistake on our part.
Well, we didn't receive the first one until we two mailings.
You
Now that-
alluded before to notifying everyone, and yet
We would
there's some people that were never notified of anything.
Well, what we do is the county, when the county has a public hearing, they have notifications of, I think it's 300 feet? Yeah, 300 feet from the external property lines.
But
And so-
it also includes other properties that may be affected by the project.
Well, they actually provide us
They
with,
give it.
they give us the mailing list, but we don't do it.
Why wasn't all the property owners on the lake notified?
Because you must have been, again, we get the list from the county. We don't come up with that list ourselves.
Okay, so county, how come we can't?
Chris and I are not part of this, the 5 acres, we're on to the south side, but we're on the lake, so, I mean, it does have an impact to us.
Well, obviously, you got the word. I'm glad you're here.
Was it another Scribner's error?
The grove, that water down there on the corner, on the left side, is that a new retention pond?
Right here?
Yes.
Yeah, that would be a retention pond.
Right up against your barn.
Yeah, that was another thing I was gonna raise, that when you said you don't have current surveying.
No, we don't have a current survey yet.
We've ordered it and we will be receiving it, but it takes some time to get that done.
Right.
So, no, I understand. I think, is there a barn that encroaches? Is
Yes.
that what someone told me?
1 foot, yeah.
Okay,
There's
well,
gotta
The
be
barn's
a
been
barn.
there for almost 30 years, so.
well, I mean, if this project moved forward, then I'm sure something could be worked out so that you didn't have to move the barn.
But you're adding another body of water. I mean, we're already on a lake. We have another retention pond behind some of our property. We have 9 acres.
The purpose of those ponds is to keep pollutants from the natural lakes.
Without a line.
I know, but literally, that's right behind their barn. That's pretty much on your barn. That's on the barn.
Well, currently, there's a portion of the property here that drains this way.
Where is the pop-off for that?
We haven't gotten into those kind of details yet. I don't know. I mean, at this point, it's obviously a concept plan. We haven't gotten into final engineering and.
How much buffer is between our property line and that development?
Well, here, if we didn't do that road, that's 46 feet, so that looks like another 15. It looks like from there to that property line would be about 60 feet. And then I noticed on here, that your house is way over here.
So 20 feet to the cul-de-sac.
No, it's not that far.
He's doing the survey.
No, from there to there is probably, it's probably 20 feet to the end of the cul-de-sac.
So did you take into consideration that on that 5 acres on the left, where 10, 11,
On the right-hand side,
water collects on the left hand of Pine,
Yep,
of Pine
we're
Hall,
aware. It collects right here,
a lot.
and it collects here on both properties.
Yeah.
Yep, we're aware. But that'll have to be looked at and figured out and making sure that, look, we can't adversely affect our neighbors from a drainage standpoint.
Are any of these waterways wetlands?
Yeah, there is a wetland line down here on this lake. And then I don't know if they would claim anything in here. It looks like kind of a pasture underwater.
We're having an ecological assessment performed as part of our due diligence process, and we will be looking at that information as it comes back, but it's in process, but it's not completed.
Yeah, because I don't understand how you can do 12 and 13 and stick them in, because for the most part, the property is underwater.
Well, I mean, that'll have to be looked at. This is a concept plan at this point. We're aware that there's some standing water here, and that'll have to be reviewed.
But why do you do a concept if you haven't completely looked into all?
Because the Pulte Homes is in due diligence. They're considering this project, and you have to start somewhere. And we're using we don't have a real survey. We don't have a topographic survey. There's a lot of things that we don't have at this point, but you got to start somewhere.
Did you not send somebody out to do soil and go
We will.
We actually have gotten a geotechnical report back, and they're out doing additional borings and test pits and things like that. So we just have to run all these things concurrently based on the timing we have during our inspection period.
See, they're in an inspection period where they decide whether they want to sink additional funds into this and actually file the zoning application or not.
Are you allowed to build
You can as long as you provide compensating storage. Because the 100-year, yeah.
Yeah, the AC's not on for some reason.
I don't know. They need to charge more for this room because they need to.
Yo.
So we have we have a lot more due diligence that we're doing at this point, including the title work and looking at those things. But as Chad said, this isn't a meeting we're required to have. It's a meeting we voluntarily have, so we can hear your all's concerns.
Well, we appreciate it. We appreciate the input a lot.
So with
I'm usually on that.
it's okay. I'm used to it. We do. I can't say enough that we really do try to put ourselves in your shoes, and I know that the best answer for you all is for us to go away. I get that. If something was going to get built, I also want to say, okay, if it is going to get built, how do we minimize the impacts to you all? So you've given us some useful feedback today. I don't know whether this project will move forward or not, but we will keep you all in the loop. And hopefully, I don't know if this title issue is a deal killer or whatnot, but we'll see.
We can only hope.
I have another question. If we maintain Pine Hollow, our easement all the way down to Oak Hollow, how would you suggest that the five of us that are left back there to keep everybody else out of there? I mean, coming down, I mean, is that, we're just open to everybody, or?
Well, I mean, again, there's another, I don't know if, I think you all said you didn't want gates. You didn't want to come through
I
gates.
don't need, we have animals, and we have problems already with people trying to jump the fences, get in the animals, and, I don't need another 40 homes with all their, everybody coming down.
Yeah.
It's not.
There are
Yeah,
things
it's not
you,
a bad use of.
there are things that you can do with signage, not that people will obey the signs and so forth.
No, they do not.
Because 12-year-olds pay a lot of attention to signs.
No, I hear you. This is me, and don't be mad at me for suggesting that, but I always try to say, if I haven't lived here 30 years, so I'm not in your shoes, I get that, but I am a homeowner just like you are. And if I live back here, if this part of Pine Hollow was closed, and you came through here like that would be something that, for me, that would be something I would rather do. I know it's a change, it's different than what you're doing, but I mean, now you hit it, and then you just hit Oak Hollow here. So in lieu of doing this and maintaining that road, you would only be responsible for maintaining the road really from here down to there, and it would take away the maintenance requirements of that.
But we enjoy the maintenance.
But you're well, no, I completely agree with you.
That's what it is.
It's not what these people sign up. It's
Okay.
not what they buy.
Well, it's changing the way you live. I mean, that's all.
Okay.
You're just opening yourself up to
All right.
the public.
How would I get here? Yeah, if they put a gate in, I could never come visit you.
Well, just like
Well, remember,
just like you go through any gate,
I'll
and
meet you at the.
someone tells you the access code, you go on through. Anyway, let's move on.
What's the price point? More?
It'll be similar to Brookmore, so 400 starting, and then probably, significant options and premiums on top of that.
Is Brookmore Pulte? And minimum size?
I think it's around 2,000, so small, like 21.
They're,
You don't see most of the plants that get
yeah, but I don't. That's a different product. That's not as upscale as Brookmore. Brookmore is actually selling an average in the 500 to 600s.
$1,000.
that's upscale?
You get it there.
For people that make what I make, it is. Brookmore.
It's on
BROOKMORE.
It's near where we go home.
Used to be the horse stable.
As soon as you, yeah, it used to be the horse stables. As soon as you make a right on Chapman,
Because they're taking over.
I don't know who, they supported us, our neighbors.
I think,
It couldn't have been that one, because they came and spoke in favor of the project. Anyway, I appreciate you all coming out tonight, and we will keep you abreast as to if this moves forward or not, and we'll stay in contact with Selby.
Just one tiny thing.
Can
We
I
have
ask,
development all on our property line. And people used to go down on there, they crawl over the wall, they get onto our properties. There's gotta be a way to keep people away. It's so isolated that we're in danger when people keep coming onto our property line. Even though we try our best to build right-of-ways so that people can build their lives over their
You
families.
said you guys are the last ones?
Yes.
So you have the other neighborhood against your south.
And we're very
They're the
vulnerable.
ones worst affected down there.
And that's people are actually climbing over that wall.
You're talking about only a 6-foot fence
It's gonna be bad for them.
on your property.
they want to go where they're not
Yeah, but
supposed
not so much for them.
Thank you all for coming
You've
out.
only got one lane. You can't have two lanes.
It was, we actually placed it on.
That's what I'm saying, if the guy will, I was trying to find out if he will, if he'll negotiate.
Yeah, that's how it's drawn on.
Hey, I looked, I was waiting over there. Yeah,
Yeah,